So essentially, you're going to go back and obviously revise your dashboard with whatever the feedback from your boss or your boss's boss, whatever the stakeholders are. And I think an important point to remember, even if you receive no feedback from stakeholders, a few weeks later, go revisit it anyway. Because you're gonna, you get blinders. When you're building a dashboard and you're taking so many data sources and you're in Excel, you know, you got your monitor, you know, and you're in Excel and you're building all this stuff, you get blinders on. You're thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna use all these formulas, these pivot tables. Weeks later, you're not gonna be in the same mindset, so you might say, wow, what's the idiot who built this? I would have never built it this way. Well, except that you did. So you go back and build it more efficiently. And it's not gonna take a lot of time because it's probably little tweaks at this point. Instead of using a pivot table, I'm just gonna use a sum ifs. Or instead of using a VLOOKUP, I might just use a sum ifs. Might make the sheet a little more dynamic, might make it a little more efficient. But those are all little important steps that aren't, as me, I'm the stakeholder in the situation. I'm not gonna see any difference. If I gave a feedback first time and I said, oh, it's perfect, I'm never gonna notice anything. But it's gonna save you, it could save you 45 minutes. Excuse me. 45 minutes to an hour of updating this by saying, oh, I really should have done it this way. And there'll be other times when 4 to 6 weeks later, you're like, wow, who's this study built this? And that's when you pat yourself on the back and say, oh, I did a great job. There's a dashboard, but one of my slides later that I pat myself on the back for to this day, and I built it probably my first 2 months at So sometimes I look back, and I do the same thing. I really do go through this process. I do look back at my old dashboards and my old reports, and you know, if they're still used in some iteration, sometimes I look back at them and I'm like, I did a really good job. Other times I look back and I say, who's the idiot who built this? God, that guy should get fired. And then I think, oh wait a second, I built that. No, he should definitely stay there. But a couple things on your final build, right? This is your perfect Ferrari, all right? This is gonna go fast, it's gonna be efficient, it's awesome in every way. Can you update it quickly and easily? Are there QA checks? And does it give your stakeholder 30-second insights? Right? I mean, that's ultimately what we're after. Again, I want to look at a piece of paper, get a complete view of what I asked for, and be able to throw it away and act on it. That's what, you know, that's the whole point of the dashboard. It's not, it's a means to an end as to its action. It precedes action. If I spend 3 hours trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this dashboard, that's 2 hours, you know, 2 hours, 59 minutes and 30 seconds that I didn't spend acting on the information I got from it. And that's a loss for the company. And that's a loss for me. I look at that, you know, if I'm the boss, I look at it as a loss for me. That's a loss for my time. I can't be an effective boss like that. And companies that will look at me and like, well, they spent 3 hours trying to figure out this data. Well, okay, that's great, but that's not what they're paying me for. They're paying me to be a strategic leader. I can't do that if I'm trying to figure out data. That's why this is important. So, just to go on, so we're gonna go through some examples, right? Some are gonna be good, some are gonna be really bad. So this is a dashboard I use. We call it our weekly run rate dashboard. I'm sorry, this is not as clear as I hoped it would be. But basically, this is, and this fits on one page. It's a PDF document that is emailed out to, I could roughly say about 30 people in the company that various level stakeholders, anywhere from channel managers to president and CEO level, okay? So these are the kind of things. Quick and easy, just so I can see from back here, sorry. You guys can see overall graph, green. You could see there's channel breakdowns, there's month-to-date revenue, where we're pacing, all these sorts of things. All these metrics, all these important metrics that all these 30 people need to know, 30 seconds. That's all they need to know. At this point, they've got what they can, and they say, oh, okay, affiliate, we're pacing 170,000 under so far this month. All right, what do I got to do? Right? What do I got to do to change that? As if I'm an affiliate channel manager, I know exactly what to look for. How's the company doing? How's my channel doing? What days did I miss? Ooh, we did really bad latter half of the week. All right, what happened? It allows me to ask more questions. That's okay. I can't go act on that right away. I need a little more information, but that's why you have an analytics team or data team, or I ask someone else on my, if I'm the affiliate channel manager, I ask someone else on my affiliate team, what happened at the last week? Oh, this affiliate didn't happen. Oh, okay. But it allows me to ask a question. I had no idea that my channel was so far under until this. So it gives really, really important. But you guys can see, there's a lot of data on this page, but at the same time, each stakeholder knows exactly where to look for, and there's actually very little as far as the high level stuff. There's only month-to-date revenue, what we're pacing towards, and then visitors, orders, and revenue for the week. So there's really only 6 metrics on this whole entire page. They might be broken down different ways. There's only 6 metrics. And those are core metrics to our whole business. So those aren't just specific, each channel doesn't have its own specific metrics. That's why each channel might have its own dashboard, maybe, its own different dashboard than this. But this is overall, okay? These are important metrics for the whole company. So every channel is going to be measured by these metrics. So there's a lot of focus as well. This is the one that, like I said, I pat myself on the back for. I created this, let's call it May 2010. I started in April 2010. In May 2010, by this point, this was being pushed out. This is our daily site health report card. So this is basically an overview of our website and its health, essentially from a performance standpoint, daily. Get pushed out, update it. Took me 15 minutes, tops. Got in, if I got in at 9, it was out by 9:20, out the door. Again, probably to more or less about the same 30 people. This one probably a few more. But, clear and easy, right? Red's bad. I think we all learned that in kindergarten. Red lights, bad. Red down arrows, I think everyone can infer. We're not doing well. So if this was for yesterday, we did not do so well versus expected. Conversion rate and AOV, okay, standard. So it allows me, if I'm CMO, I see this, I know exactly what questions to ask. Or I start looking at, okay, if I heard rumors of, this affiliate didn't hit yesterday. Or, the email blast didn't go as well as we thought. This might validate it. Or, if I had no idea what was going on, I'd be like, well, what the hell happened? What? Why are we in the red? Oh, because instead of doing a 60% promo, we did a 0%. Okay. Obviously that wouldn't make sense from a business standpoint, but that would explain why there's red arrows. If this checkout conversion rate, this one on the bottom, your bottom right hand corner of the screen, why is that so low? What happened? Where did people fall out in the cart? Did people, leave from a particular page? Is it general? There's a lot of questions that could be asked. A dashboard isn't going to answer every question that could be possibly asked. That's not the point of it. The point of it is to inform you to possibly then ask the important questions. So here's some bad examples. I did not create these. These I pull off Google Images. I literally, I just searched for bad dashboards. But I've seen stuff like this. I legitimately have. In presentations, I've seen this as a dashboard. I don't know. If I spent 20 minutes, I probably could tell you exactly what all is going on. But to be honest, if I'm leader of a company or leader of a channel, I realize this isn't internet marketing data, but it doesn't, I mean, the same point. If I'm leader of a channel, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I have no idea what questions to ask. I'm going to spend probably an hour or two trying to digest this, probably another hour asking questions. By the time I get answers for that, it's 6 hours of the day. The day after, so I'm asking questions about the day before, 6 hours into the day after. It's a lot of wasted time and effort that I could have spent if the dashboards look more like the previous slides. Could have answered those questions a lot sooner, or I would have known what questions to ask a lot sooner. With that, I could have got answers, and I could have performed actions. This is another one. Again, there's some pretty graphs on there. This is all great, but it shows you graph lines, but it doesn't tell you why, or it doesn't tell you where you should be. Let's just take this graph. It dips. Should it have dipped? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter whether the stakeholders for the reports know it should have or not. You still need to show them it should have. So if it should have, then it's as expected. If it shouldn't have, and it dipped, then that's not good. But you need to tell them whether, everyone can't be expected to know everything. So you need to make sure that they know, oh, this was expected movement. So whether it was down or not, I mean, you could expect downward trends. That's okay. But if the company moves worse than you expected, you go for it.
So you're saying this is the difference between data and information?
Right. This is the difference between just throwing, here's some data. Right, is data and dashboard.
What information is interpreting data, as opposed to, this is just spraying data back at me and me assuming that these lines mean anything.
Right. Yeah. Your job as a person building a dashboard is to build in some sort of interpretation of that, a forecast versus expected. Could you go back 2 slides? Or one more, sorry. So this one, these orange outlines, these are all expected values. So you can see if you're green, this is what we actually made. Orange is what you expected. So every person, every channel manager knows, on this day, I was expected to make this much. I made this much. I underperformed, my channel underperformed that day versus expected. That's not, I mean, that's important for you to know. What am I expected to do? You might know your daily, your quarterly goal, but you might not know how that really fleshes out to a daily level. If I'm building a dashboard for you, I need to make sure that you're aware. Here are the days you overperformed. This day, they obviously very overperformed that day. So on the overall, they did okay. But if you can look at that day to day. So while I'm not delivering this to your desk and saying, here's what happened. I'm not going through a 20-minute spiel on this. But I'm allowing you to easily interpret what's happening. So I'm not interpreting it for you, but I'm allowing you to do it. I'm facilitating it, let's put it that way. Does that make sense? So I think facilitating the interpretation is really what it's all about. Because you don't have time if you're the one building a dashboard, you don't have time to walk around 30 people's desk and explain to them what happened. They don't have time for that either. That takes more than 30 seconds. Whole thing.